I don't know where to start. This is one of those nights where, uh, it's funny because let's go back. So I know people are going to be upset. Let's go back. So against the Vegas Golden Knights, Cody Eakin gets 5 in a game for Pavelski falling, pool of blood everywhere, and everybody loses their minds because the referees didn't see it. They didn't see it. They tried to call what they couldn't see. Those referees did not work the next round. The NHL has clearly told the referees, if you don't see it, you can't call it. And it would seem that in the play that decided tonight's game, it's not reviewable. The NHL can't call down. This is not a Toronto should have called in and fixed it. They can't. It's not a reviewable play. Just like puck off the mesh, not reviewable. Should it be? Absolutely. And that came into play tonight too. We'll get to the big play. We'll get to the one that everybody's going to be talking about. And honestly, it's I get it, but still. First period, the Blues had pressure in the first minute. First minute of the first period, the Blues come out and they're trying to take advantage of their home ice. Sorensen was scratched and Melker Karlsson was moved up, which really seemed to help that line a lot. I like Sorensen. Apparently pulling him out of the lineup helped. The Sharks weathered that early pressure. I thought they played pretty darn well after that early pressure by the Blues. That being said, there was a Kane turnover right in front of Jones. I don't think Evander Kane's had a very good playoffs. I think he'd admit that. I think the Sharks management would admit that. And I think his teammates probably quietly grumbling a little bit about some of his plays. And the sloppy play by San Jose defensively continues. They've had this issue throughout the playoffs. They've got away with it. Tonight, they eventually got away with it again. Perron took the first penalty of the game, but guess what? It doesn't matter. Power plays don't have anything to do with these games and their results. They just don't. Neither team is good on the power play. It just doesn't work. Then there's a puck that hits Vince Dunn in the face. Now, Dunn didn't come back to the game, so they were playing with 5 defensemen from then on. And if Dunn is out for Game 4, that's a pretty major loss for the St. Louis Blues in this series. Pretty major loss. Erik Karlsson then gets an unassisted goal, so the Blues try to dump it out. And Karlsson with his first of the playoffs. Not his last of the night. So Erik Karlsson with a big goal, and the crowd went really quiet. And I took note tonight of how quiet the crowd was in St. Louis. And man, when this team was behind or when it looked like San Jose had momentum, the crowd went quiet. You can tell there's a lot of tension with St. Louis fans right now. There's a feeling of we could be on the verge of going back to the finals for the first time since 1970. We don't want to mess it up. The Blues were giving the Sharks way too much room. So the Sharks are bringing it out of their own zone. They're not being challenged in the neutral zone. They're skating right through into the blue zone. You can't give them that much room. Thornton then scores from Vlasic and LeBanc shortly after I write that on the board. And it's 2-0 for the Sharks. And honestly, it looked like the Sharks were going to win it. I've even got up on the board here after that Thornton goal from Vlasic and LeBanc that the Sharks are in full control. So end of the first period. The shots are 9-4 in favor of San Jose. The score is 2-0. Blues fans are quiet. Very, very, very quiet. Second period. Cue the insanity. Early Blues pressure. And then Alex Steen gets a goal from Barbashev. Nice to see Steen finally get a goal. That's the second of the playoffs. Here we go. St. Louis, no. 18 seconds later, it is Joe Thornton that answers from Kevin LeBanc and Brendan Dillon. It is the first multi-goal game in the playoffs in the career of Joe Thornton, and he is the oldest hockey player to score a multi-goal game in the history of the National Hockey League. So there you go. So it's 3-1, but not long after that, Tarasenko scores an absolute laser from Shannon Parayko. Tarasenko dialed in. That's his 6th of the playoffs, only his 2nd at 5-on-5. And you get the feeling that there's a lot of momentum starting to build for St. Louis. And you're right. Both coaches had to be concerned. I put that up here. Both coaches have to be concerned. Goaltending, defense, what are those? Haven't heard of them. Second period's totally different from the other ones we've seen in this series. And I put up on the board, Dunn's still out. They're still at 5 defensemen. Because it's going to put more pressure on other defensemen to cover for him being out. The crowd was into it. So the crowd got kind of noisy, sensing that after that Tarasenko goal, they really had the momentum. And they absolutely did. St. Louis had all the momentum in that second period. But then the Blues got away with delay of game. Puck goes over the glass, hits the mesh, and what does the referee say? Banked off a Shark. It didn't. Joe Thornton was adamant that it didn't because it didn't. And the Sharks were not impressed. So coming off of that non-call by the referees, should have been a penalty. They didn't call it. Perron gets a goal from Parayko and Edmondson. So that makes it 3-3. And the Sharks, still not happy. And then there were sloppy zone exits for the Sharks. I mean, every time they were coming out, every pass was just garbage. I was nervous with Burns. Vlasic was having to play way back with Burns because, yeah, Burns was taking a lot of risks and turning the puck over. There was a lot of turnovers against San Jose. And I put bad Sharks defense leads to a Blues power play. Guess what the Blues do with that power play they get? They finally score. The first power play goal by the St. Louis Blues in 19 opportunities. 19. It's Perron from Maroon and Parayko. So it's 4-3 for the Blues at the end of the second period. All the momentum's with them. They outshot San Jose 13-8 in the second period. Now they just got to bring it home. And going into the third period with a lead, St. Louis's record in these playoffs, excellent. Trailing going into the third, the record for San Jose in these playoffs was poor. So everything points to a St. Louis victory. The Sharks, however, had a strong start, and they were buzzing for the first 5 minutes. Binnington plays very, very well. The one thing I'll say about tonight's game, I thought both goalies played well, but neither of them are playing like world beaters. They're making the saves they should. They're making some acrobatic saves, but you get the feeling neither of them are really capable of stealing a game. Both goalies I put up here, both goalies playing well. And I mean well, not great, but well. The Blues close. They got close to 5-3, but Jones was playing well. So Martin Jones kept this game from going to 5-3, and the Blues had a lot of pressure at that point, just could not get that second goal. They did pull the goaltender, did San Jose, with 2 minutes left in the game, roughly 2 minutes. And the Blues get it. Can't hit the net. So San Jose calls a timeout. 1:26 left in the third period. Time. All right. Everybody huddle in. So they huddle in. And again, empty nets missed. I think it was Schwartz that missed the empty net. That was the most egregious of the Blues. But there were just misses and guys throwing the puck and just, kill time. They weren't killing enough time when they had the puck. I think it was Gary Galley that kept saying, don't just go for the Hail Mary. Just kill some time. Get it out to the neutral zone. Rag the puck a little bit. And they didn't. And it cost them. With 59.6 seconds left, Couture, and as far as I can tell, Couture is still being credited with that goal. Couture, depending on the angle, it kind of looked like he did or he didn't touch it. But Pavelski and Thornton with the assists. So Joe Thornton with 3 points tonight. 59.6 seconds left. San Jose scores it, which means overtime. Overtime. So for Blues fans, they went really quiet on that goal. That was... And again, and I get it. I think with some in St. Louis, and I know it's not all, there are some Blues fans that have this feeling of, oh God, here we go again. It's going to happen again, isn't it? It's going to happen again. And the Sharks were the team they faced in the conference finals 3 years ago as well. In overtime, close call for the Blues in the first minute. First minute, they're out there, they're getting their chances, and Martin Jones stands tall and does not allow that goal to go in. Couture was then robbed 2 minutes and 5 seconds in, and I thought, well, maybe we'll have a longer overtime. Maybe. But before we can really get into discussions of how long overtime can be, and while I was picking out which hat I wanted to wear for this review video, having a Blues one and a Sharks one ready, of the same design, Erik Karlsson gets a goal from Nyquist and Meyer. And it's going to be controversial forever. It's a hand pass. Absolutely, 100%, it's a hand pass. Now, if it's a hand pass in your own zone, no harm, no foul. If it's a hand pass in the offensive zone, the whistle's supposed to go. I've never been a huge fan of it myself. I've always thought, you know what, if you can bat it with your glove, not close your hand on it, but you can bat it with your glove to your teammate, let him do it. I'm all in favor of just the whole, let's get some offense in the game and have some creativity. And if a guy can bat it with his hand, fine. That's not the rule. Referees are supposed to blow the whistle. So Carlson gets the goal from Nyquist and Meyer. And right away, Gary Galley says, that's not reviewable. The Blues stay on the ice. The Sharks kind of stay on the ice too, because the Sharks probably well aware that's a glove hand pass. Carlson himself, receiving that, probably thought, well, he gloved it over to me. And he was standing over near the bench. It's not like they just poured off and then left. But you could see the referees, and while they're showing it on the big screen, and St. Louis fans are cheering because they're like, okay, that's a hand pass, so this game's still going, referees are like, we didn't see it. So here's the thing. If you were mad at what happened with the Cody Eakin play, you cannot be mad at this one. If you're going to be mad simply because it's the Sharks, there's nothing I can say. Nothing anybody can say. But these referees and linesmen, and I get it, and I was mad last round that Tuukka Rask should have had a shutout. A puck hits the mesh, comes back into play, and Columbus buries it while the Bruins stopped playing because they knew the puck went out of play. And when I made that statement during that review, I was told, whiner. Just play it. The Sharks just played it. Carlson buried it into the net for a second of the game. Should it have counted? No. Absolutely not. Does it count? Yes. Is it reviewable? No. Could the referees and linesmen have got together and said, well, we didn't see anything, but they're saying it was a hand pass? Yeah. Should they have? No. Just like the Eakin play, if they didn't see what happened to Joe Pavelski, they can't call it. So now the referees are doing exactly what we told them to do in the Vegas-San Jose series, but there's going to be a lot of flack because it's San Jose. And so if we end up with San Jose and Boston, I don't think that's going to be a popular series with people. I think it would be a lot of fun. I will say this, if it's San Jose that ends up playing Boston, they have got to stop these sloppy end exits from their own zone. They have got to stop being poor with their puck handling, because that's what Boston's been absolutely awesome with is the interceptions, puck control. So if it were to be San Jose and Boston, I'm not trying to discount. Carolina could come back and win 4 in a row. Sure. St. Louis can win 3 in a row, knock out the Sharks. Sure. If St. Louis comes out and plays this way again, like the shots were 12-12 in the third, the shots were 3-3 in overtime. If they can channel that St. Louis team from the second period, again next game, they can tie this series. It just, is it a bitter taste that St. Louis fans have in their mouths right now? Absolutely. Do I blame them? No. At all, not at all. If that happened to Vancouver, if that happened to Boston, would I be salty? Yes. But again, it is not a reviewable play. So what we're looking at here is, it's what we asked for. We don't want referees calling something they don't see. And if they don't see a hand pass, it's not a hand pass. And that's that. No review. You can't review it. Toronto can't call and overturn it. And your winner is Martin Jones, who saves 28 out of 32. Bennington saved 27 out of 32. And another note out of this game is Sammy Blais appeared to headshot Justin Braun. And depending on which angle you look at, we may very well see the NHL call Sammy up and we could be looking at some kind of action against him. It was contact directly with the head. Principal point of contact appeared to be the head. But we'll see. So this could be one of those insult to injury kind of things. If we see Blais end up having some kind of action against him. Because I thought he was decent tonight. He's a good energy guy even when he's not performing offensively the way I think the Blues would like. This is a tough one. This is a really tough game. 5-4 win for San Jose. The Sharks were red hot when they left the ice. The Blues were red hot when they left the ice. The Blues fans were red hot as the Blues left the ice. There was a lot of items being thrown on the ice. And again, I get it. I get it. I'm not trying to diffuse that. I'm not saying I don't understand. I do. But it's one of those situations where it's not reviewable. It's just not. And, we'll see what happens in Game 4. St. Louis is not out. This is a 2-1 series lead, not 4-1. This is not San Jose wins the series. It does mean San Jose now has home ice back. St. Louis needs to go and win in San Jose again to have a hope of winning the series. The good news is St. Louis has an excellent road record. The bad news is their home record isn't as solid. So, and again, I know St. Louis fans are upset right now. We'll see what happens in Game 4. This is bonkers crazy. These playoffs have been insane. But again, keep in mind, if you're a St. Louis fan, there should have been a penalty. The delay of game didn't get called, and then St. Louis has 2 goals pretty quick after that. If San Jose gets a power play there, with the way that the second period was being played, it's possible San Jose gets a goal. Referees miss calls at both ends. The problem is the missed call for San Jose is on the game-winning goal. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And I don't know what else to tell you. But again, these playoffs have been insane and the insanity continues. I'll talk to you again soon.